Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on Monday. After a couple of weeks hiatus, we are back and we're going to be discussing all matters sporting press online edition Irish Oaks. We may also touch upon the likes of the Larry O'Rourke National Produce Stakes and of course the English Derby, which had a great start for the Irish over the weekend. I'm joined as always by the exiled dub, Tommy Lyons. Welcome, Tommy. And representing the sponsors, Jason Craddock. Jason, good to see you. It's this time every year we get to talk about all matters Oaks related, and it just so happens the last couple of years it's coincided with the English Derby. But you're also a keen golfer, and we talk off air about your golf. You get much golf in, firstly?
Well, I must say, and I had an albatross about 3 weeks ago, hole in one on a par four. So cost me a few quid, but it was good to have.
Well, that's it now. You know, you should just give it up. You're never matching that.
That's it. But the handicap's coming down.
Yeah. There were a couple of proper birdies running at Shelbourne Park on Saturday night. Do you like that one, Tommy? Did you like that segue? The Sporting Press Irish Oaks got underway. Of course, the big name prior to the competition was the defending champion Susie Sapphire, but she made her exit. I think it's testament to the competition that it's still an unbelievable Oaks, Tommy. She just didn't get the start. She encountered plenty of traffic problems, and the rest, as they say, is history. She didn't do an awful lot wrong in defeat, but just one of those things. She won't be defending her Oaks.
Yeah, she wasn't going to. She missed a kick, and from the draw, it was going to be difficult. She wanted to go inside a bit. She actually tracked quite well at the first bend, or maybe it was a little bit of luck involved. Got a lovely little run, but then when she tried to show her pace down the back, she got done again, and there was no recovery. When the bitches are doing 28-20 for fun, like you can't afford to be getting into trouble a couple of times in a run. So it's a shame, but like you know, it's what it does, I suppose, and not the connection you wanted, but gives them a bit more time to maybe have her peaking for assignments later on in the year, maybe. But it is a shame. But then, as you said, Ian, like when we have a 27.99 run on the same card, I think we'll get over it fairly quickly and move on. Just glad she's okay, and we'll see her again, please God.
Yeah, Jason, there's no question about it. Shelbourne Park is running very well at present. It's speedy, but there was a 27.99. But there was 2 or 3 heats won in 28.40s. So like there's still a fair range there. But all in all, just some quality racing on Saturday night.
Oh, it was. And back to the 2 best-looking birdies with Susie Sapphire and Ballymac Ariel. And the 2 bogeys now, they've gone.
Yeah. It looked like Ballymac Ariel was feeling something. Obviously, is her first run in quite some time. We await to see how she is and whatnot. But, I think we're probably getting to the tail end of her career at this point. She's been a freak of nature for quite some time. Probably just gone beyond her peak now at this point.
She was definitely propping on the bends, there's no doubt about that. And Liam will be thinking about the breeding paddock with her.
Certainly, she's one to the breeding paddocks.
If you don't get to see a race live, what I prefer to do is to hit the video and not know what's in the race, just so something might catch my eye. And I said, "Oh, geez, that's six now. Is we'll have a big run soon." I looked up his Ballymac Ariel. Like, yeah. Okay, I understand. I understand now. So yeah, like she clearly, you even if you had never seen 6 of them before, and just like I said, watched it blankly, and you go, oh my God, 6 has some abilities. Just things aren't going right for her at the moment. So yeah, unfortunately, but she's been a terrific bitch. And I don't think Liam had a lot of them in the early rounds, didn't he? In the early heats of the Oaks, and a couple of winners. So one of them which was massively impressive, Ballymac Whisper. My God, the pace of that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Let's get into the heats. There's 11 of them. We won't spend too long on each of the heats. We'll just reference them. Maybe stop on the 1 or 2 heats that really caught our eye. And the first heat was the heat that featured Ballymac Ariel. She finished 4th. She failed to qualify. She was the 4-6 favourite. It was Ballymac Art who actually came in as a reserve. Another one for Liam Dowling. She's been some star for quite some time, Jason. It was unusual to see her coming in as a reserve. You'd expect she was the first name of the team sheet generally, but perhaps Liam had requested that, maybe trying to get her back in time or whatnot. But a fine display by her. It's something we're getting used to seeing over the years.
Well, of course, and she's a finalist. I was going to say 2 years ago, but 18 months ago in the delayed Oaks, and then a semi-finalist last year. And when she's at the front, she's going to take some catching. So, she could be on her way back.
Yeah, Tommy in second spot, Hillview Queen. That was definitely on its way back from seasonal rest. She was having just her 10th start. I thought she ran well in defeat. And Highview Venture, a bit of an eye catcher back in third running on.
Yeah, a good heat. Ballymacarty is an old favourite. Like she has her limit, of where she has reached in the past, and we know where it stands. But just nice to see her back to form. It was a decent heat, but her early pace, a lot of it was in view the other night. So I think that's kind of it is a good sign for her. You can see her going deep into the competition yet again. But whether it's a step at this stage of her career to win, it might be a step too far.
Yeah, there's some very, very bright young prospects coming through, one of which was in action in Heat 2, Tommy. We'll skip on because I think we might like to talk about this one for a moment or two. Ballymaquispa. This lady had won at 50-1, Jason. We were doing a bit of homework after she won at Shelbourne Park in her previous outing. We believe it's certainly the biggest prize winner in Ireland since the turn of the century. I can't remember a bigger prize winner than 50-1. I know my father backed a winner at 101 in Harold's Cross one night, the first round of the Puppy Derby, but that's going back 35 years. It was a bitch called Let's Go Tina. She was a flying starter. She was left 12 clear and held on by a short head. There was trouble in the corner. Can you remember a bigger prize winner than 50-1? Needless to say, she wasn't 50-1 the other night. She was 6-4.
Well, if it had been Betfair, she'd have been probably 200.
Yeah.
I remember Mossy Moore in Hackney winning it 150-1. But in Ireland, the bookies are well known for being tight, and 50-1, it would have been 200-1 anywhere else.
We prefer to say mean.
Mean, well. Well, I tell you one thing. Forget the price. This is some bitch, and this is some six-ben bitch in the making. She came from out the clouds the other night to beat a Puppy Oaks winner.
Yeah, she made the Puppy Oaks winner look slow.
Slow, ordinary, very ordinary, and she's no more Ballymac snazzy.
Yeah, we know that's certainly
28, 23, a little. She didn't get the clearest of runs, and then she just took off down the back.
Yeah, Tommy, it was stunning.
Oh, geez, I took my eye out completely. You'd worry about where she's going to be positioned in any race, especially over 5-2-5 with a lot of sharp sorts around her, where she'll be positioned early in the race. But by God, the overall ability is remarkable. Like she potentially gets herself into a little bit of crowding at the first bend. She goes down to the third bend. I'm thinking, where's she going to go now? She decides to go straight through between two bitches and then run straight off the last bend, gives away more ground, and still absolutely flies home to do 28-4 or 28-23. I mean, she has the ability to smash through the 28-second barrier, but I'm afraid I don't know where it'll be and what race, what sort of makeup she'll need to do that.
I think as the competition gets hotter, and it tends to get hotter with early pace bitches rather than strong runners, that she'll actually get a lovely run in behind. And I suppose the fact that she's moving with such pace at the third bend should stand to her. Whereas she's not slowly trying to get through a gap, she shoots through the gap. And I think she'll be okay. I think we're looking at certainly an Oak semi-finalist, and any little bit of luck, she'll be in an Oak final. The gear she showed the other night. If you buy a Greyhound, you want an early pacer to be out of trouble and gone. But if you want to watch a Greyhound or have a bit of really excitement in a race, that's the type you want. She's a joy to watch, and I hope she does qualify all the way because it gives a certain dimension to the final. Whereas we might be looking at a final where we're thinking a couple of these could pop out and maybe rattle 28 seconds, and then you have her who can do. We know I'd be wildly confident she'd be able to do that, but just that she give it a bit of a dimension to the races. Where you're kind of. We're not looking at a race going whatever leads will win. If you have somebody like her in the race, she's always going to be a danger. She's got a lot of class. Oh my God! The problem is trying to break 28 seconds when you're coming from fourth and fifth isn't going to be easy. No. Go ahead.
No, you're right. It won't. But like we're all looking at her thinking, my God, what might she be in the future over further and whatever else. But she's still entitled to develop. She hasn't had a whole lot of running. She had a bit of all right, but she hasn't got a whole lot of running, so she can improve.
Yeah, she already boasts a victory over a Derby winner. It's not too bad. Jason, Ballymac snazzy. I think we'll see better from her. Like, I think she's more than capable on the current track of doing a 28-20 run. She did 28-51 the other night. Was it a case of maybe she'd been left on the bed since she won the Puppy Oaks and probably needed a run?
Yeah, but she's a one-trick pony, isn't she? She's got a lead. And, in a two-dog trial, how far would Whisper beat her? That's the thing.
I think that's the same for a lot of dogs. Whisper hammer quite a few of them.
She is the type to pinch races.
Yeah.
Out and gone and a bit of trouble behind.
Yeah. You say it like it's a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I like to stay as in. But...
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, Jason. Fahy Divine was in third spot. She ran another decent race. Hatfield Lola was a gallant winner of Heat 3. She got to the front early. They came at her and she just kept on digging out front. She's a nice type. I'm not saying she's going to win an Oaks, but for Neil Fraser and Cora Doyle, they can be more than happy with their performer. Jason, go ahead there.
Yeah, she ran well for 10-1 outsider, belied the odds. You know, what surprised me about Shelbourne the other night is they've been calling it 20 fast for the last few weeks. Suddenly it's normal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a few minutes, because there is one bitch in particular I want to talk about as regards the fast and the normal. Millbank Chosen was the favourite here. She missed the kick. She probably did need outings. You know, it's been back. She'd had a run since the March 26th in Cork. It's not on the card there. She had run at Shelbourne Park. She'd been down the field in a good contest, but she looked like she was probably just lacking match fitness, and it showed after the slow start. Front Pasha is a nice type, ran well in the feet, and Droopy's A+. She's a strong runner. I think she'll want a bit further in time. She was back in third. Tommy, anything to add there?
No, Millbank Chosen probably should have got through along the inside into second place at the first bend, but maybe you say a bit of rustiness. Actually ran well enough in the feet, to be fair. I would, even though she's didn't qualify, whatever she actually.
I thought she looked a very nice bitch in the Cork Oaks. She looked like one that would be a very likely sort of Oaks challenger, and here we are. You know, you make one false move and you're out.
And that's testament to the quality.
Yeah. On to Heat 4. Speaking of quality, Droopy's Gloss was the winner, 2-5 favourite. It was a good enough contest that she couldn't afford any slip-ups. Burgess Pippa tried to make it interesting into the third bend. But once Droopy's Gloss got around that corner in front, Tommy, the one thing we know about her is when she gets to that final bend, she kicks again. And she went on to win in 28-19, one of the best runs of the night. She's just a thoroughly likeable type. I'd met Mert Lahey in the car park the previous evening, and he just said that the bitch is flying, and it showed.
Yeah, look, she the Burgess Pippa, who was probably a little bit unlucky in the Limerick Oaks, the previous run, actually ran very well in the feet. But like you've got a bitch of the standard of Droopy's Gloss. When she got around in front, you knew it was all over. Now, to be fair to Burgess Pippa, she kind of kept her very, very honest all the way down to the third bend, even around the last two bends. But just that little bit of extra stamina and class came out in Droopy's Gloss. There are more races and heats even to be won with Burgess Pippa if she could just time her break right, because I think she's extremely fast. She has to be inside and whatever else, like she was the other night. I have to say, if I was there, even though I thought Droopy's Gloss was probably close to a good thing, I would have had something on Burgess Pippa at 4-1. I just thought the price of return would have been quite generous. I don't think I would have been able to let it go just in case she did get away. But Burgess, and like when you have a bitch whose best form is based on stamina, like Droopy's Gloss, and there's only a 4 bitch heat, it's obviously a huge advantage. So you can understand the 2-5 to some degree.
Yeah. Jason, this is a heat where all four runners qualified, and even Droopy's request, like she's doing 28.57 back and forth spot. She was on the wrong side of Droopy's Gloss. We know when she's the inside, she is one that could certainly pinch a high quality contest. It's one of those heats where you keep going back to this one. Any of these four could go well into the stake. Reckless Nanny probably hasn't come forward like she looked like she would after her first start or two, but she ran on very well in defeat. They're four nice bitches.
Well, Droopy's Gloss, I think, is better than what she showed, but she's better over 550 against 550 dogs. And to clear that field, she did really well, because most people would have thought she'd have sit handy in second place and destroyed them down the back. But she's a juvenile derby winner, isn't she?
Yeah. She's just a really thoroughly likable type. Moving on to the fifth heat of the card, and this was the aforementioned 27.99 run. Mary's Wedding had shown plenty of signs during the Puppy Oaks that she is going to be a star of the future. She's obviously bred to be a star. Droopy Sydney out of Ballymac Petsy, two absolute, Sydney, what he's achieving is incredible. Ballymac Petsy was an unbelievably good lady. She's only November 20. She now has a record of 7-4-3, seven races, 4 wins, 3 seconds. There's an awful lot to like about this one, Jason. If she keeps trapping like that, we're looking at a potential Oaks winner.
And look at the age, November 20.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very, very young. She's just a little bit vulnerable at the traps, but once she gets her feet on the ground, she's very, very capable, and she's coming forward. She must be favourite now. Tommy?
Encouraging me that after a break, she did her best section on 206. That's a huge step forward in what she would normally do. She had 224, 219, 211 was a decent one, 226, 224, 224. If we thought that now after the break she's after maturing a little bit and maybe developing in that area, then she's an absolute superstar in the making. Like if you reverse the traps in the final of the Puppy Oaks, she might have won it. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
no,
very much so. Yeah, I fancied her in a Puppy Oaks. I must say, I thought she was probably a length or two faster than it. But like that, she just didn't get away from the draw, and that's what she needed. The other night, she did a 15.98. Anytime you're breaking 16 seconds in Shelbourne Park, you're really running. But we've seen dogs doing 15 sort of 80s, not doing 27.99. So it's clear that she's certainly finding a bit of time as well from the third bend home. So she's very strong, and she may well be a 550-yard bitch going forward. But it's clear she also has the early speed to challenge the very best over this trip also. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's a bit early to be saying it, but like I'm not saying there are parallels, but there are some degrees of similarity between herself and Susie Sapphire in the sense that she has, if she's going to develop that little bit of early pace, she's definitely got the stamina for 550. I think she's probably got the class to be a Derby contender as well. And we know we saw what Susie Sapphire did last year, and it can be done from these young bitches. Now she's extremely young. She still won't even be 2 by the time the Derby's over. So, but there was a huge amount to like about it. I think like next week will tell us a bit more about whether she's going to be a slightly quicker breaker than we have seen in the past. But she's a massive prospect.
Yeah. Just to mention on Dolores Ruth, Jason, she had a couple of years off there. She returns back, and here we are, a couple of months after her return, 3 or 4 months after her return, and she has the Oaks favourite. It's testament to Dolores's back sort of catalogue of her successes and her position in the sport that she already has one of this nature in her hands.
Well, class is permanent, form's only temporary, and she's done it being there. Razzle Dazzle, George, Billy, Chandler, Slippy, the list goes on. And
yeah, you could list them off all night, like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
The beauty is that she concentrates on a small kennel and does them right, and not a you never see huge numbers, and it's just when they go to the track they're going to be in great nick.
Yeah, Mary's Wedding, 27.99, and I would not rule her out going any faster at some point during the competition. She's definitely one coming forward run by run. Behind her, Droopy's Dot. I think she wants further. Obviously, Droopy's Saga, the dam, has thrown a few Oaks contenders in the past. I think this one definitely needs further. Dark Ava, if you could take her trial form and put it on the track, she'd be second or third favourite for the Oaks. I've never seen a trial card like it. She's stunning trial form. If you have a moment, take a look at it. She probably just lacks that yard in early in this sort of company, and she just can't quite equate it on the track in race company, but she has some trial card. Dark Ava, and they were the only 3 to qualify there. We'll move on to the 6th race. This was the one we spoke of at the very start. Susie Sapphire was the favourite in Trap 4. It was Burgess Josie got first run. Susie Sapphire found the traffic. I thought Crafty Jaco should pace at points. Canuck Abbey, did she qualify in Trap 6, 28.61?
Ian, what about Trap 2?
No, Jason.
No.
Don't be stealing my thunder. Thunder. I would say if you looked at all 11 heats, blind, didn't know any dog, didn't know any bitch, anything, I would have said, that's the one I'm taking out. That's my Oaks winner. That's my Oaks winner. What she did was unbelievable. She gets done in the corner. She's ace 10 behind. She's beaten a short head in 28. What was it? 28.29.
29.
Unbelievable. We were talking about the track running very fast over the last few weeks. She did 28.26 a couple of weeks ago, and we were sort of scratching our heads, and we were sort of like not laughing at it, but going, like she had 29 seconds on her card. She does 28.26 tonight. And I actually spoke to Mert, as I said to you, in the car park on Friday night. And sort of he said, well, the owners wanted to put Rafa Mofo in. He says, like, what do you do? Like, she's 28.26 in the card. And I said, yeah. I said, your biggest struggle now is to get her to win another race because the company she's going to be keeping. I don't think they're going to have to wait too long.
No.
It was unbelievable. Jason, go on, take it off there.
You wouldn't mind buying her a few weeks ago, looking at a card, A3, A4, A5, thinking, nice cheap bitch here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd want a lot of money for her now.
Droopy Sydney Clare's Queen, September 20. Obviously, she's very well bred, took off in her penultimate start. And then the other evening, it was just a stunning run and defeat. And, she really is a could be anything performer. She's clearly just one that the pennies dropped. Something's clicked. Because I'll tell you something, there is no shortage of pace there. Burgess Josie, also very impressive. She did everything right. She wins in 28-29. I have no doubt the way track is at Shelbourne Park, she'll certainly be doing a bit faster in time. She's a big player also, Tommy.
Yeah, but I would say about the runner up. I'm concerned about that first bend. She did all that herself.
Did Susie Sapphire not come around her and cut straight across her?
No, she had decided before the bend that she was easing up.
Yeah. Maybe so. So.
Yeah. Hey, I'm only saying it's only trying to nitpick when we're talking about her as a potential winner. I'm just saying like I just looked up there the Boyle Sports prices. She's 12-1. To me, that's tight. She had decided, in my opinion, and hey, it's inexperience and she will improve, and there's obviously loads of potential there. But that just concerned me a little bit. I felt if you watch the heat there again, like while you're here, if you can watch the heat again, you'll just see that she has decided herself that hey, I haven't got room here before the bend, and that will concern me because her overall ability, that's not in doubt.
Yeah, she's turned into the corner. Susie Sapphire arrives on her outside.
You not see about 25 yards.
There's a little hesitation, but I wouldn't have said it was a complete ease. Now, she did get lost when she got cut off, but she certainly, she's 8 or 10 behind. Like, it's just unbelievable. She's still a bad fifth going into the third bend, and she's beating the short head. Like, she's still 6 lengths back between the last 2 bends, and she's beating the short head. Burgess Josie really did fold a little bit, Tommy, didn't she? She's coming back to them. So too was 5 Crafty Jaco, or maybe it was just Raha Mofo made him look that way. Knuck Abbey ran on very strongly in behind. And else to add from this contest, look, Susie Sapphire, what's next for her, do you think, Jason? Are we looking at? I think Owen is not going to make the mistake again. I think he'd like to have had a race or 2 in her. Every time she comes back from a bit of a layoff, she throws in that 1, maybe 2, not bad runs, but just not her normal razor sharp display. I would say if they are going to bring her back for a derby, they'll definitely try and get those 2 races in before the derby starts.
Well, Owen's on record of saying that she's a pain in the arse in the kennels, and she needs constant trials and races to sort of calm her down. So
yeah. Now, in fairness, we haven't got Susie Sapphire's opinion. Like, she's probably saying Owen's a pain in the arse in the kennels.
Well, he probably is. You ask his wife; she would definitely agree.
Tommy, what would your plan be if you had Susie?
I would take my time with her now, and just have one plan for the rest of the year. She doesn't know anything. She never won another race in the rest of her career. She doesn't know anybody anything. She's been terrific for connections. She's been terrific for us to watch, to talk about. She and you know what? She's by no means finished. It's just I would leave her off a while. I know she might be a pain in the ass around the cans, but I would give her a good rest and then come back with just one plan. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I mean, you've got to. It's a difficult one because if she hadn't won a derby and Oaks and all she'd achieved before, and she ran like that the other day, even though she was a bitch, she was capable of 28 seconds. People wouldn't overthink it. They just say, "I'll just put her out again next Saturday night or whenever, or next Thursday night or whatever you want to do. Put her out again, let her race away." But because you can tend to overthink these things when they've done so much, and it's kind of the eyes of the whole Greyhound world are on her every time she runs. So what I look at. But what they really should think is, hey, there's no pressure. She's not been an absolute superstar. What a joy she was for an entire year through a difficult time for people through COVID and all that. She was just an absolute star to enjoy and to watch for Greyhound racing. She kind of kept it on the road, kept the interest in it. So I mean, I would say the best way to think, there's no pressure. Let's just take our time with her, bring her back for one go at defending the derby. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't. And if it does, well, brilliant altogether. You know what I mean? That'd be my plan.
Yeah, I think I sort of agree with that. We'll move on. Heat 7. Anna Lucy had produced a massive run in the opening round of the Limerick Oaks. Didn't happen for in the second round. She did a big run the other night at Shelbourne Park, 28-10. She's razor sharp, this lady, Jason. She just did it well from the front.
She did. You like you say, she did that good run in Limerick. The 6th bitch ran very well as well, or chasing her own, beating her length.
Yeah.
You know, and she'll always get a draw, trap 6. So. And there'd be no more popular winner than Highview Moment at Shelbourne. You know,
no, of course not. Yeah, of course.
Merriman family.
Yeah. The first 4 qualified here. Kilbannon Psycho was 4th in 28.45. 28.45 and you're 4th. Wow. Drewby's next one was 3rd. Tommy, she's a strong running lady. I think she's more of a 550-yard performer. This was really about Anna Lucy and Highview Moment, I suppose. Anna Lucy from the front, Highview Moment storming home. Every year, the Merrymans get at least one that really finds its form and produces it through the Oaks. This could be Moment's year. You know, this could be her moment, shall we say. But Anna Lucy, a lot to like about her. 15.95, Tommy. So she was faster than Mary's Pier Mary's wedding to the third bend. Yeah.
She impressed with the way she tracked. She moved off the rails slightly down the back, as you would imagine any greyhound would, but she was tight off the last bend for her. I think she probably stole that length off High View Moment. I think both of them ran superb races. If you can pop out and do what she did in 28:10, even the bitches that can break 28 seconds are going to struggle to get by you. High View Moment ran the race. It was like her life. I thought it was a fabulous effort in defeat. They were kind of clear with the rest of them, who, as you said, Ian, the third is probably a bit for further down the line. But I was taken by both of them, first and second, I have to say.
Yeah, another Droopy Sydney out front on a Lucy. High View Moment, as you say, very, very strong. She looks like she's really coming back into top form. On to Heat 8 here. Scooby Duchess. I spoke to Jennifer O'Donnell a few weeks back, and she said, like, it's a race against time. She said this lady was only 8 or 9 weeks at the time. So she's probably still only 11 weeks or so out of season. She did a 18:53 and a 28:39 trial. Obviously, you can ignore the starting prices there. I'm almost certain she wasn't 6-1, and I'm almost certain Eagle View Sarah wasn't 5-4. I'd say you could swap those prices. But Lujaneo, who's been thoroughly frustrating, and I mean absolutely thoroughly frustrating. Have I mentioned I spoke to Mert Lahey in the car park on Friday night, and we mentioned Lujaneo, and he said this lady can run. He says it's just a case of getting her to run. Well, she certainly ran the other night. She's a very, very fast lady. I thought a most encouraging run by Scooby Princess. Mag's Memory didn't quite get the start she can get. She ran okay to qualify in third. She's doing 28:45, but it was about the front too. Lujaneo, firstly, Jason. She's a pacey lady, a bit like her dam Droopy Zantu, who was very, very special on her night. But she is a little bit frustrating. There's no question though, on this sort of form, she's capable of going deep into the Oaks.
She is. It's just all about the start, I think. She tends to get. If you look at the sectionals, really, she's more 4, 5, 6 at the bend than 1, 2, 3. And she's got to improve on that.
Yeah, certainly. From a going forward point of view, you'd be happy enough with Scooby Duchess knowing that she's only 10 or 11, maybe 12 weeks.
Well, I'd be thinking if she gets to the final, she'll be spot on.
Absolutely,
so, bang on. She just keeps creeping through.
Yeah, and she's recording 28:38. Nothing wrong with that, Tommy, at this stage in her progress.
No, because obviously there'd be a bit of weakness in her, and you'd have to love the way that when she was passed, that she battled back again around the last 2 bends to kind of tighten it up a little bit more, and just as you'd expect in the straights where she kind of in the final straights where she kind of lost a little bit of ground. You'd be very much encouraged. She's only 6-1 to win it outright. She's joint second favorite actually.
Yeah, I think I can see why. I think you're vulnerable next week, but you've got to remember there's 4 to qualify next week, Jason. That could be very important.
Oh, it could, yeah, because we only lose 12 runners next week.
Yeah, and it gives them all another run at the place and just that chance to sort of get to know the place and whatnot. Rahamofo might be going around the corner in 27:80, Tommy.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, it might be.
Lujaneo winner, Scooby Duchess second, and Mag's Memory back in third. Mag's Memory, she's just a really nice type. She'd do 28:30 for fun around Shelbourne Park, but you sense there'll be 1 or 2 that'll always go up that little bit faster than her. Either or, lads, I don't mind. Whoever wants to talk.
Yeah, because you will because look at the standards in it. What we've been talking about already, and we haven't got to the end of the heats yet. Like there are terrific young bitches coming through. So yeah, you can't afford to be 3-4 lengths off the pace in any stage of this if you want to win it.
Yeah. Next heat, Cloheen Lass was the 2-5 favourite. I thought she'd win. I think she'd be 2-5. I have to admit, she started her career off very well. Jason, am I right in saying she won 3 or 4 of her first 5 or 6 starts around Clonmel? She looked a really nice type.
She did.
She'd suffered a few defeats since then, but a good run the other night. She had every chance not to win the race where she turned. She ends up winning by 4 lengths.
She walked out. She's lashed out the traps.
Yeah, and she shows real strength. She shows real strength and determination.
The form line's misleading because you look at the sectionals, it says 2, but I think Irish form lines is the first one is the first bend. Where in England, the first one is the trap out of the traps. Yeah. So if there was another one, it would say 6-2-2-2-1 because she absolutely dropped out and then flew around the outside. And if she does rediscover her trapping boots like she used to run at Clonmel, albeit in different class, if she started coming out, she'd go well deep into 28 seconds as well.
Well, when you
because I was looking at her form as well, Jason. I was kind of thinking like 287, 288, 287, 284. They don't equate to 220 something. Like they're better than that.
They're better than that.
So I mean, she had a lot of running to do after missing the kick. She had to track very well, but she's extremely wide down the back. If they widen the track, she'd be further out. She's extremely wide. Gives a good bit away.
Yeah, she was third in the Christmas Oaks last year, behind Clonmel Sky, but she finished in front of Highview Moment, Skywalker, Angie, Crafty, Kokoro. She's more than capable of competing against the very best, and she does have a 203 in Shelbourne Park. So if she rediscovers that type of starting around Shelbourne in this Oaks, she's certainly a bitch that could go into the very, very latter stages of it. Certainly, she looked very fast to me the other night. I thought she sort of in victory probably impressed me more than she had done in her previous career. Katunda Ela, a lightly raced type, she led. She was just outpointed by the winner. She's only October 19. She's obviously had issues, be it with season or injury. And Ballymac was back in third. One for Kieran Lynch. Tommy Kieran has he is previous in the Oaks. He'll be hoping for. She probably is only qualifier at this stage. He'd be hoping for this lady to come forward.
Yeah, just like she has a couple of sections that you would think that she might be. She's not the quickest of breakers anyway, but she has a couple of sections you think that she might find a little bit better than 216 that she had the other night. But she needs to step forward a bit, doesn't she?
She does. On to Heat 10. It was certainly a competitive contest. Florentis, Balnabula Evie, and Kilara Odessa, and Tullivan Vita. Florentis is fast in the stride, can't hold her position, but she comes storming back to win by a length. I don't think any of them are going to be winning the Oaks. It'll be a case of one or two of them will progress another round or two, but we probably need this group to improve, Tommy, to get involved.
I think so too. Like you said, Ian, it's exactly it. She went from breaking in front and having controlled the race to being back in fourth place. It's probably halfway or maybe a little bit after halfway. Stayed on nicely. It's 28.40. Again, it's about 4 to 5 lengths short of what you want. And if you get out in front, you need if you as it goes on, if you get out in front and you can't hold the position to the bend, you're in a whole lot of trouble.
Jason would be happy to own any of the four that finished first, second, third, and fourth in Heat 10. But again, you're going to need a bit of luck in the Oaks.
Yeah, I think they might last another round or two, but they're going to struggle to get to the final.
To the business end. Michael Corr has had a good run of things over the last 2 or 3 years. He has a nice type and Mina Melody. She's stronger than she used to be. She really struggled to get home over 4 bends. He actually ran over 5.75 one night, I believe, since. Now, as it is, she generally gets picked up, but on this occasion, she was fast in the stride, made every inch, and he's 11. Just a thoroughly professional display, Tommy. It's what you want to see from your bitch at this point in the competition. It was one of the easier heats. I'll Not Be Back was taken out from trap 6, so that was obviously the favorite gone, and thereafter it was there for the taking. Mina Melody did everything right. She was 2-1 joint favorite, and she obliged as easy as you like.
Well, she ran the straight middle course, which is perfectly fine, slightly wider than middle, but she ran the first 2 bends and the third and fourth bends really, really well. Because she's one that if she gets out in front, she's not going to have anything up the inside. She's going to take that line very, very well. So if she can continue to break like that, she can advance a good bit in the competition. Yeah,
she does a 16.03 on the back of a 2.11. That suggests that she has the early speed that, just if you had one of the real early pacers in the competition, one of the really fancied runners, she's not the type you'd like in your immediate inside.
No, because she's as I said to you, she's not going to give away much. I like the, if you're a connections or if you're back a bitch like that or any dog that gets out in front, you want them to take that position and hey, if you want to get by me, come around me kind of job. And she's not like she's driving straight off bends right, and that she's not. She's just gently steering a middle course down the back, and again in the straight. It's almost perfect tracking, to be honest about it. So she's the type of one that can be clever enough to get to that her tracking ability will bring her further than even her ability might.
Jason, she's in the second bracket, maybe second, even stroke third bracket of Oaks runners, but one of them is going to progress. At least one of them is going to progress. It could easily be Mina Melody.
Well, it's a career best effort, but she's one of the older bitches, and you think that a limited scope, to improve, but you just never know.
Yeah, a career best effort, but only by a couple of spots. And, oh, sorry, 28.48. Sorry, I looked at the wrong bitch. 28.48. Yeah. She's improved 2 lengths on her best efforts, I suppose. But yeah, I know what you mean. She's in good form. She goes up strongly. Just wouldn't be surprised if she went another round or two, much depending on the draw, of course. Now, we spoke there briefly. You mentioned a few of the prices. The new favourite is Mary's Wedding. Could you disagree with that, Jason?
Oh no, I mean the time she's fastest. She's the fastest in the competition. I think she was fastest in the Puppy Oaks as well. She's just got to do it right out of the traps.
Yeah. Looking at the betting there, Tommy, it's 5-1 Mary's Wedding, 6 Scooby Duchess, Drewby's Glasses, then double figures, the likes of Ballymac Whisper and a Lucy Burgess Josie, 12 Raha Mofo. I think she's a bright future, that one. 14-1 Droopy's Request. Droopy's next one's at 16 with Ballymac Snazzy, Mag's Memory, Ballymac Art, and 20 Bar. Anything jumping out at you there, Tommy?
The only thing that jumps out at me is that Droopy's Glasses is very short at 6-1. I don't think that's unfair. I think she was workmanlike in a 4-bitch heat the other night. I'd just like to see a bit more from her. She's a bitch we do like. We've talked a lot about her in the past. You were fancying her from a long way out in the juvenile derby, if I remember right. I think you're on decent prices. I backed her in the semi-final, missed out the she was even 10s, I think, before the semi-final to win the competition. She's a smashing bitch, but I haven't seen that spark yet.
Fully enough, I think she's probably the type of bitch is better nearly off against the dogs, because there's only going to be 1 or 2 real speed merchants when you take out the dogs. Whereas in an Oaks like this, there's going to be so much early speed when you get to the business end that you're going to have to be absolutely foot perfect. And if you look through the Oaks winners over the last 20 years, the vast majority are from the front.
I think in just purely looking at the betting alone, I think if you were to ask me that I had to have a play, and this is really unoriginal, but I would be having a play with the idea of having another play later on. And what I mean is I'd be taking the 5-1 Marie's Wedding and thinking, okay, this is pretty solid. I'm pretty confident that she's going to go a long way. I'm looking at the second, and we have potential negatives for Scooby Duchess. Droopy's Glass, I think, is just not. She can get back to it, and even if she does, she hasn't got the same early speed as these. She had to work hard to get around the bend the last day. So I'll be taking her on at 6s. Anna Lucy is okay at 10s. It's probably fine. She's a very good bitch, potential improver. Burgess Josie. Like you said, Ian, she kind of came back to them the other day. Ballymac Quispa is going to be doing it from off the pace. It's a bit of a concern. Raha Mofo probably the same. Droopy's Request probably wants to, dependent on draw, just to get a run early. Has a nice bit of early pace. Like, I'm looking down them and going, okay, I need all of these to show me something more next week before I want to back them with the price there at the moment, or potentially back them slightly shorter. So what I will be doing is, I think the clever play here will be to back the favourite, which is just as this is deeply unoriginal. Back the favourite of 5s because I think it's perfectly good. I think you'll definitely get a good run on it. And with the idea that maybe something will catch our eye next week, because a lot of these, or a few of them, are certainly coming back from a bit of a break or not having too many runs, and are going to develop quite a bit from run to run. So I will be taking that 5s and having that in my pocket and thinking I'm going to look somewhere down the line to have something else that I think will be in the final also.
Yeah, Jason, it can jump out at you. I'm noticing, you sort of, when you are betting at this point in the competition, you're looking at the draw. But I suppose with the 4 to qualify, you have that little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, everything's a bit skinny, but I think each way Ballymac Whisper, if it's first 4, if you can get 3 or 4 to 1 the place, that wouldn't be a bad bet. What's going to keep that out of the first 3?
Yeah, she looks like she looks like you're going to need a sledgehammer to keep her out of the frame. The way she ran.
But but Jason's right. It's not a bowl me over price of 10 to 1, is it? On the win part. It's not a bowl me over kind of, I have to get that price now.
But what we're basically is we're giving out to bookmakers for getting it pretty much right. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think 10. I think 10's a short. I think 10's a short, to be honest.
Okay. If you had to pick a winner, Tommy, are we talking Marie's Wedding? Is that the most obvious one for you at the moment?
Yeah, it's too boring to say that. Like, that's, you know what I mean? I don't even want to say that, because as I said, I'll get her in my pocket at the price and hope that something will emerge next week, that I confirm something I saw the weekend, or do something a little bit extra that'll show me that it's back to its very, very best or something. So I think I get the 5 to 1 in the pocket, and after that, I'm thinking there's a lot of skinny ones.
Jason, what about yourself? If you were to pick your, even doesn't even be most likely winner, but the one that you'd sort of favour backing at the present, Ballymac Whisper.
If I had to choose 3, it'd be Ballymac Whisper, Scooby Duchess to improve, and Marie's Wedding. But I'd rather bet Marie's Wedding at 5 to 1 than bet any of the others at those prices.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
You know,
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's a cracking Oaks. I think 2 or 3 stars will emerge that will really stand out above the rest come the latter stages. It's just a case of picking them out. I think there was plenty of good signs from some, and much will depend on the draw, as we said, going forward. Jason, you're here representing the sporting press at present. Obviously enough, it's a busy time for yourselves. Lots happening in the greyhound racing world. Firstly, we have to talk about the paper. You've gone online in recent months and it's going well. Normally €4 a week. It's 156 a year, which works out at £3 per week. But at the moment, during the competition, during the Sporting Press Irish Oaks, until the 19th of June, you're down to €2. Does that mean that your wages are cut for the next few weeks, Jason?
Yeah, well, I was going to say they should be going up with the cost of living crisis, not down. But I think it's just to encourage people who may have forgot the Sporting Press, over the last few months that, we're still here, we're still a good read, we get value for money, come and join us and buy the paper.
Yeah, prior to the online edition, obviously enough, most people would have been buying it on track, and with people not getting to the track as often during obviously lockdowns and whatnot, I suppose sales can slip. It's just a case of trying to get it back again.
Well, that's it. I mean, we print the paper. It's mainly for the aging population that don't like gadgets, don't like to look at it on computers, iPads, phones, and they still very much like the newspaper in the hand.
Yeah, I must say I must be aging as well. I still like having a newspaper in my hand, although it is very handy with the likes of the Sporting Press. And now I must admit I have signed up for a couple of newspapers over the last while, and it is very handy when you get up in the morning. You're still in your boxers, drinking your cup of tea. You don't have to walk out to get the paper. You can read it on your iPad.
Exactly.
Tommy's disgusted there. I think it was just the idea of me and my boxers.
Thank you.
Nothing. Gentlemen, obviously lots to look forward to in the Sporting Press Irish Oaks. It will conclude the week before the English Derby concludes. They run side by side. A great Oaks to look forward to, but at the moment it's also a great English Derby, Jason. Some sensational displays from both the UK contingent and the Irish who did particularly well over the 3 nights. It's a really, really good English Derby. It's quite deep this year. I think in previous years you could sort of rule it down to 10 or 12 dogs. I think you could probably bring it up to 20, 25 dogs this year.
You could easily bet 14 or 16 in the field. It's that wide open, and people get carried away with clocks. I'll tell you now, Toaster is as bad as Wimbledon for when they take the bells around, the times speed up, you know. I mean, the other night, Latoro did 28.80 and Aussie Captain did 29.80. Well, the track was absolutely 30 or 40 slow for the first few races. Then suddenly the Bowser went round and Latoro track record. I'm taking nothing away from Latoro because he's very able, but you have to be very careful about watching times.
Yeah, Tommy Latoro started your part of the world. He came out of the Yall Academy, as they say.
29, was it 05, I think, in the trial at about 16 months, I think, something like that. Anyway, Garrod O'Brien had him. He was a decent money purchase at the time, as you would expect. He is a cracking dog. He went over and he won his first race. I think it was his first race by something like 13 lengths or something ridiculous. He's obviously had this sort of ability from the very start. I tell you what, the one that took my eye out, and even though, and this might sit in where Jason is talking about times and all that, because how did Barefoot Supremo do 29.06? Was it?
It's boggling. It's mind-boggling.
After effectively doing everything wrong, missing the kick, running off at the first bend, being way off the pace, and then flying home to beat Bubbly Apache by a head or a short head, and being the best part of 2 lengths clear in a matter of strides after the line. I mean, if that isn't a solo 28.50 run, I'm a Dutchman. On a track run the same as that. I mean, it was an absolutely ridiculous. It was a ridiculous price, and I'm fairly confident that you had a bit of it. I was seeing your Twitter feed now. You're playing up to the housewives and all.
I was on a stag in Kilkenny, and I had about 6 lads who know nothing about greyhound racing staring at my phone. And I said, lads, if one wins this, drinks on me for the next hour or two. And needless to say, drinks were on me for the next hour or two. They couldn't believe it was going to win, because at the 3rd bend I start calling it. I said, lads, we're up here. Now he wins ahead, but it was a stunning run. But I think from start to finish it was very good. And the Irish had 43 to kick off with. They ended up with 32 qualifiers. There were a few that we had a fair idea wouldn't go any further than the opening round, and we didn't lose any really major names. It's big Irish contingent again, Jason, this year. We see it week in or year in, year out, and we have 32 of the 96 next week. I think it'd be close enough to parity come the last 48.
I don't know, because I always thought the Irish were stronger, but the one that sticks out as an improver, one to watch, Ballymac Leon.
Yeah.
Out and gone the other night. No,
yeah.
Not a lot of form on his card, running top class though. And then Liam doesn't bring him over for nothing, Liam Dowling, the trainer. And
I heard both Shane. I heard both Shane on Friday night on a Twitter Spaces thing with Dave Clark, and then Liam on Racing Post TV before he even ran, both saying we think an awful lot of this dog. And I remember Tommy speaking about him in the Kirby. He looked a nice dog where Penny had yet to drop. And we were wondering, we said, probably won't have the early speed that the rest of the family do. Like, he's a half brother to Pastana. And then bang, the other night, he does, I don't know, it was like 4:06, wins as he likes in 29:04. And you're going, okay.
There was a little dog run last year called Ballymac Fair One. No one had ever heard of that either. And suddenly it's in the final. Did he go favourite for the final?
He was disputed favourite. He might have been just marginal second favourite, yeah.
And this fellow's got the same profile.
Yeah,
but had a few more races, I think.
And I thought he sort of was the cherry on top, because he was in Heat 31, the last Irish runner of the opening round, and to do what he did sort of just summed up where the Irish challenge is at present, Tommy. If I'm over there on English Derby final night, I'm not going to be getting too much abuse if we have 5 or 6 finalists. That'd be nice. 6 finalists be a bit too much to ask for. But I think at this stage we're looking like we'll have a very strong hand in the Derby.
Oh, big time. I like that. Like, there's just a lot of performances that, like, isn't we've talked at length about Skywalker Barry. I don't see him as an English Derby winner, but how he's holding his form after losing for a while and coming back to his best and holding it. It's brilliant. Bobsleigh Dream had a superb draw the other day, made the most of it. Dealish Frankie has improved or sold out of here. Sing Along Sally, didn't she run a superb race in defeat the other night? And a very much an encouraging run by Park Blake, we have to mention. He came in for floods of money prior to the competition. We were sort of beginning to doubt the project. He hadn't shown quite the same sparkle this year as last. It was a much improved run from his first run up to Toaster, and who's to say he can't improve further again. What do you make of Coolvalley Calvin?
I thought it was just a lack of experience. He just ran off the second bend a bit, opened the door. If you actually look back at his run in Shelbourne Park and his comeback run, it was down the back straight. He looked a bit vulnerable. Mustang Jet, who ran in the Produce Stakes the other night, flew into the third bend behind him and actually closed the gap considerably before Calvin kicked again. And that's exactly what Calvin did the other night. He was caught down the back and then came again. I think it's only had 5 races. There's nothing to suggest he can't find that length or two down the back straight. He's just probably still finding himself. Doug missed the guts of a year. So I think you have to forgive him for getting chinned. If I was on at, let's say, 33 or 40 to 1, I wouldn't be too discouraged. I think the winner is a very fast dog, the Sign at Denver dog. He won the laurels in Perry Barr, I believe. So, he's clearly a very fast greyhound as well. But,
what do you make of Jason? What do you make of Thorn Falcon?
Thorn Falcon, he won the Derby and he had the race of his life last year in the final, and he's obviously very talented. But for me, it's not for me.
Yeah, I was the same, but I don't want to. Ian unashamedly goes down the green tinted glasses, which is not something I like to do. Well, obviously you want to see the win, but I just want to see a really good competition. It just wasn't. I know he showed a bit of pace in the feet the other day, but it just wasn't as impressive as I'd like to have been. Kildare there's another one, Ian. Another
big run. Big run. He'll improve considerably for us.
We were talking about him.
The thing is, at Toaster, you don't really want trap one, although a few more did win the other night. You want an early pace railer that goes round in front. It's very difficult to pass round Toaster, especially they all range up on the third bend and nothing comes by. It's a very strange track.
Yeah, I'd add just a little asterisk to that. You want an early pace railer who's not drawn in 1. Because it's tricky to win from 1. Exactly. It's also tricky to win from 6. You spoke of Thorn Falcon there. I thought he ran a remarkable race the other night. I thought it was one of the eye-catching runs of the opening round. But if I look back in last year's English Derby, and I was willing to oppose him in every single round of it, his splits through the Derby last year were 4:29, 4:22, 4:15, 4:21, and 4:24. Now, if he produces any of those starts in the final, he doesn't win. But he produced a 4:08 in the final.
Of course.
I don't think you can expect him to again produce that one big run again this year if he gets to the final.
They've changed the trap several times at Toaster lately, And these one seems to break better, slightly better, but the 6 don't.
Yeah.
Who knows why? But it's all anecdotal. But like anyone, they all want to be in 3 and 4 with a railer that bangs out and gets across.
Yeah, I want to mention one Trap 6 runner that did sort of come away racing was All About Ted.
Oh yes,
I fancy him quite strongly the other evening, but I am concerned. He's getting to that corner, Tommy, and he's doing what Druppy's Nidge used to do. The whole go up reasonably straight and then just straight right across. He looks like a Trap 1 runner every day of the week for the 10 yards into the corner and around the opening 2 bends. Is that going to catch him out like it did in the trial stakes?
Yeah, quite possibly. I was watching actually Barry Drake himself were talking about this race, that heat beforehand, saying like if he thought he was anywhere near his best, the 6-4 available or 7-4 available was the biggest price of all time, because he I don't know what was
Well, Fernandez is in 5, who's notoriously inconsistent at boxes, and then the 4 dog was the other Irish runner. Bear with me. Go ahead there. Keep talking anyway.
No, I was just saying he's all class. And
Romeo on Fire was in Trap 4. If All About Ted got a run at him, you'd expect him to pick him up.
And you see all the all the kennels that were on the mark for the Irish. Again, it's the same people who are trying to go and win that English derby. Peter Coleman's dogs are in great form as usual. Brendan Matthews, Pat Buckley. It's all Paul Hennessy. It's all the same lads again who were trying to get their hands on that.
Pat Buckley got his eight of 8 through, didn't he? Like even Le Benite, who I'd never even heard of her prior to her trial. I was like, what's this? Where did this come from? Bang, away and gone. Makes every inch of the running, holds Kildare. And I don't know, Pat obviously thought he had something in her. I didn't think Glengarry Jenny would get anywhere near, winning a heat or whatnot. She leads in the opening yards and she finishes a good second. So clearly they have the recipe. They know what they're doing. I suppose the fact that they've been so often now at this stage, they know how to time it and do it right, Jason.
Well, yeah, Pat stays in Poole, doesn't he, with friends? Is it June Harvey?
Yeah, June Harvey.
And that bit of change of scenery sometimes helps dogs,
Mm-hmm. And trainers
down there, and trainers as well. Yeah, exactly. But Pat, did he have 7 winners in 1 second? Was it?
Oh, he had a number of them.
Something like that. Anyway, he did very well, as did most of the Irish. All the Irish contenders are still there, really, aren't they?
Yeah, no, it's a great competition. We're really looking forward to it. So too is the Sporting Press Online Edition Irish Oaks. Just before we go, another mention, the Produce Stakes, of course, Jason down at Clonmel. Massive competition, big work going on at Clonmel at present, really pushing it forward. The restaurant's back open, trying to get people back to racing at Clonmel. With the likes of Swords Rex, that'll help.
Oh, exactly. I mean, he won the Open on Raced in February, then he went on to the Kirby and did well. He's a class act, 27, was it 93, second fastest at Clonmel. He's a great dog. Takes some beating.
Yeah, he's a proper greyhound. Tommy, I saw your old pal Druby's nice one of his as well. It's a good Produce Stakes. There's no question about it. Some very, very nice dogs there. Gaston Picasso for Pat Buckley, a good winner as well. Really good Produce Stakes. I want to mention Dramana Survivor. Did you know much about him? No. Garrett O'Brien, oh my God, he has some early speed. He has unbelievable early speed, Jason. He doesn't get the 5.25. There's no question about it. He qualified in 29.03 around Yaw. Had his debut in Enniscorthy. It didn't happen for him. That was obviously in the future champion. But then he's after leading 3 nights in Clonmel and gotten picked up the last 2 nights. But the pace he has shown to the third bend is frightening. I would love to be buying shares in his future as a sprinter, perhaps. Right,
yeah, a 400 yard, maybe probably wants a bit further, maybe. But
yeah, no. If you got the 400, no, listen. There's no guarantee you'll get the 400 if you are a sprinter in Dundalk, because you need a 5.25 yard dog really with blistering early speed. But no, he's certainly one to keep an eye on. I'd definitely be playing if he got to Dundalk now, I must say. Gentlemen,
there's two finals at the weekend, Ian, to mention. The Lee Strand at Tralee, the Pat Buckley show, Tullig's surname.
Yeah,
29-39 during the competition, unbeaten, going for 7 in a row. Then you've got the Kilkenny champion on race, another Holiday going for an unbeaten run through. So yeah, I think that's Sunday. You must check.
Yeah, it is Sunday. It's changed to Sunday now. He's he looks a really nice dog. That Another Holiday. Pablo Escobar is the one I'll be looking at when he comes to Shelbourne Park.
He'll be wearing him down in the closing stage.
Yeah, he's very, very, very strong for Carl Ramsbottom. But Michael O'Donovan he's certainly the right man to have at the end of the lead when you have a good one with Another Holiday. As you mentioned, Tulloch Suriname, he could be anything. He really could be anything, Jason. He's looked the part down in Tralee. And we've seen some superstars emerging from the Lee Strand over the years.
Exactly. 29-39. Take some licking. Is it 29-22 was explosive boy track record last year in the race.
And that was a bit of an outlier because he smashed the clock.
Yeah.
He probably took 2 lengths off the clock. So it's very close to the old clock, I dare say.
But we could see those line up in the race of champions in Tralee in just a few weeks' time.
Yeah, lots to look forward to. There is loads of racing going on at present. Like we could talk about it. We have never mentioned the likes of the Newbridge Derby, be it an A1 competition, some nice types in that. We didn't mention the Island Bridge off the pitch, won it on Saturday or on Friday night. Beat the, obviously Gizmo Classic couldn't follow up his track record breaking run, but off the pitch, a good winner for Marion Des Gilbert. Tommy, anything else do you want to add?
No, it's insanely busy. Even just take the last 4 days and trying to keep on top of that. Add in the horse racing, and it's nearly impossible at this stage.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it's not showing any signs of letting up. Like we're in for a few crazy weeks, no question about it. And then before everything, you realise we're into Champions Stakes and Derby, so there's no let off. It's a good time to be a Greyhound enthusiast. Gentlemen, thanks as always. We look forward to the second round of the Sporting Press Online Edition Irish Oaks. Of course, there will be 6 heats at Shelbourne Park on Saturday night, with 4 to qualify. That'll leave us with 24. And then it's back to the standard 3 to qualify through to the final on June 18th. It should be an unbelievable occasion. Jason, a pleasure as always. You're probably on the tee in about an hour, are you?
I wish.
Tommy, you're not off. You're probably going to meet Barry Drake for a cup of tea and a breakfast roll or something.
I have 2 meetings tomorrow to preview in Punchestown and wherever else is on. Busy man.
You break my heart. I wish to say I wish I was teeing up in 20 minutes, but unfortunately I'm not. Gentlemen, as always, a pleasure. That's it from us on Talking Dogs on Monday. It's great to be back. We will be looking back in the second round of the Sporting Press Online Edition Irish Oaks next week, as well as hopefully a very successful second round of the Star Sports English Derby with so many Irish involved. But that's it from us on this Monday evening. We'll see you next week. Good luck and God bless.